In fact, I need to do something first before I do my presentation. It's the last session. I'm the last speaker. For what I prepared have been addressed by majority of distinguished speakers. That's why I need to change a lot one by one. Maybe some of you can see what you saw me still doing writing in here. Because I don't want to duplicate what the other speaker already addressed. And secondly, I need to clarify that now I'm working with the Huizhou University in China. It's on a part-time basis. Now why I need to declare? Because I retired from Hong Kong Poly U many years before without full-time job. And last year, that Huizhou University want to be more competitive. They asked me to uplift them to be more internationalized. Because for such a post, head of department in China, for an outsider like me to take out is very unusual. Because for that post should be the member of communist parties. Unfortunately, I am not. So, some people suspect whether I'm a member of the party. No. All right. Since you find that I changed a lot, so I still use the same. Which one? I can't see. Sorry. That's okay. Because of my age, I can't see so many small things. All right. I can share the chairman's address. For merchandising, it takes 9 months. I can remember when I first joined the merchandising 40 years before, more than 40 years before. It takes more than 10 months. The customer, they brought the samples, either from States or from Europe, or by air parcel, sent to Hong Kong. Then we take the garments to make sample and ask for quotation. Afterward, we got the samples, if they are correctly made, we send by air parcel. And for all the quotation, we send by either by mail or by tellers. Any of you have ever heard tellers for those youngsters? Any idea? No idea. It's already replaced by tellers or by telegraph. Then it takes time. Fortunately, if the samples are well made, right at first time, then we can start to order the fabric, make the garment. Then the whole lead time, 10 months or maybe even longer. At that time, I got comfortable life. No one pushed me. No one pushed me. After I send the parcel, that's it. I need to wait for at least 2 weeks for response. Time was easy, but not now. Okay, let's start. Will there be need for garment or home textile in the coming years? I think once there were human beings in the world, we have the clothing, we have the apparel. Whatever material we use, still are the garment. Till now, we need this. We need this. I find garment is a kind of evergreen industry. I assume everyone buy 10 pieces of garment, including the jacket, the shirt, your polo, your pants, your underwear. I think every day you need to at least wear 3 to 4 pieces when you go out. But don't forget, when you wake up, you're still with your pajamas. So every day, you are using a lot of garments. You are wearing a lot of garments. So if 10 pieces, I think that's very, very little. I think you may buy more. Then 70 million, that could be a lot. The only point that how can we do the business? How can we take the share? How can we take the share? I think that's the most important. Garment business is ever growing. I can say that, ever growing. Never stop. But how you take the share? After World War II, United States, UK, and thereafter, Japan, Hong Kong, Korea, Thailand, China, Vietnam now, Morocco. Now, whatever the country name, but it's just like a cycle. You stay, no more, not much production. Hong Kong's not much production. Korea, China, and now Vietnam, Burma, or whatever. So it's moving. What you are doing, how you do the business. But don't forget, quite a lot of this business, either made in Vietnam, made in China, or made in Philippines. I can say that it is made by Hong Kong or Taiwanese. In the year of 80, a report from MIT say, made by Hong Kong. No more made in Hong Kong. It's made by Hong Kong. That means for the development, for the merchandising, for the logistic arrangement, for the financial arrangement by Hong Kong, but not made in Hong Kong. In nowadays, Taiwan doing the same thing. In Vietnam, made in Vietnam, but made by Taiwan. So, in nowadays, what we are doing, other than general consumption, 10 pieces per year, there are a lot of uniforms. No matter for the government, military services, school uniform, business organization, you can see those persons who service us in here, they are still wearing uniform. But they don't wear the uniform when they come back here. That means it's double the quantity already. Home textile. Any of you at home, there is no home textile. Your bedsheet, bed cover, your pillowcase, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. Also some costume for special function. I can remember last year when I was in Philippines, I visited a factory. They are just doing those sportswear for high school in the United States. They say that's a big business, but it's difficult to do. I can say, for such kind of sport team uniform is easy. They say, yes, making up is easy. But they need to make the delivery in a short time, before the semester starts. What is the semester start? September. That means they make all delivery in August. Only in August. Why in August? Because they say, when they get the information? What information, I say? Just the length, the width, this and that. They say no. Because for each piece of garment, they have the number and the name of the player. Only after the coach select the team members, they know, oh, this size medium is for Michael Jackson, number 7. That's it. Now, it's a really short time. I can say that the lead time may be even shorter than Sarah. Maybe even shorter than Sarah. I think you know Sarah is the lead time is already very short. However, for those uniform, it's even shorter. And also, you can't do it wrong. Number 7 is Michael Jackson, but you make it wrong. What Michael Jackson, that's finished. That's finished. So I also asked them one question. Why? In very beginning, China, the course is so cheap, not made in China. What's the answer? Chinese does not know English. Philippines knows. Now, that's the point that whenever we foresee what is the future, these are the considerations. I think India got such advantage. They know English. You know English. But Chinese, a lot of workers never know English. It's easy to make mistakes. Once there's mistake, it's finished. Because when the team start to play, oh, it's not myself. I can't play. So that's something that very, very strange. But whether we can do it, whether we know the market's like this, I can say there's a big market. Because in the United States, there are around 100,000 high schools. For such kind of team uniform, at least 400 pieces. 400 pieces. What pieces is this? Not pieces, 800 pieces because the top and the bottom. 800 pieces. That's a big business. 80 million pieces per year. If you can take 10%, that could be a lot to make it in a short time. Okay. After this, we can know we are with the huge need of the apparel and home textiles. Okay, I already addressed it. It's an evergreen industry. Now, whenever you are looking for a future, I think you should know what is your current position. You're a retailer, you're a trader, exporter, agent, material supplier, designer, manufacturer, education and training. Now, because for each role has its function, they are playing differently. I can say that for merchandising, always have the conflict with the manufacturer. Designer always have some argument with the production people. Everyone has its role. But in the role, how we do my work, now this is a supply chain, there's no need to talk anymore, you know even better than me. And also, currently, what are your business strategy? Agent, how you do your business, which is different from the buying office, which is different from the manufacturer, different from the contractor just making uniform. Also, you are doing OEM, ODM, or OBM, or what we call a virtual manufacturer. I think you know there's a company called Li and Feng. They claim themselves a virtual manufacturer. They do nothing, just all the arrangement. That's a merchandise, typical merchandising work, but not manufacturing. But one thing that, can I, now in the position of OEM, to pay the OBM immediately? To my experience, maybe I'm wrong, if they change all of a sudden, normally they fail. Because the mindset of the OBM player is different from an OEM player. Totally different. Because for the OEM player, they take every cent very serious. But for the OBM, they need to invest a lot before they can get the result. Because they need to make the advertisement, they need to do a lot of promotion. All these are investment, huge investment. But for production people, manufacturing people, how come I invest so much, I can't get it back in next month? It's different, it's different. So you should know your position. Don't say, okay, future, what we can do everything. No, you have your role. You have your own knowledge. You are in your own profession. Okay, let's look in the future, Let's look in the future. Now, the future that influences supply chain in the future, I use it in 5 aspects. The market, material, technology, human resources, environment. Now, for some of them, might already address a lot, so I don't want to duplicate them. For market. Now I put more in China element, okay? Geographical climate issue. I can say that I have not much idea about India, but in China, the taste of the female, northern part of China and southern part of China are totally different. China is really big. If you're doing business in China, northern part, those ladies, they are willing to pay a lot to buy good clothing. They are not to eat much. But in the southern part, they spend much of their money for their food, for good food. But for clothing, very, very casual. It's very, very casual. You say, oh, I penetrate to China. What's it? In which part of China? The whole China. China is so huge. It's huge. And also the figure, the measurement, different. Northern part, maybe like this. Southern part, like this. So you understand the market, what it is. Now, China is a big market. Quite a lot of branded merchandise, premium merchandise, they enter the market. But I can say that they are far from success. Still a long way to go. I can recall that there's an American brand, not to address it. Okay, they take their merchandise from state. In fact, they produce in China. They transport this to state and then back to China. Okay, American brand. But the size, using American size. Oh, God. So, for all this, what we know, if we say, okay, there's a big market, but I don't know about India, maybe something similar. Now, in state, West Coast and East Coast are different. So, we should know climate issue. I always say that you are good in business, your customers are good customer, but you are making the winter and fall merchandise. You must see whether the climate helps you. If in that year it's not really good for you, then that will be a total loss. That will be a total loss. So whether we need to do some forecast, what will be the future in the climate? As you know, quite a lot of us say, what greenhouse effect, this and that. Oh, the temperatures are moving up. So are you going to do a lot of down jacket? I think you should make consideration. Now maybe still good in the market. But 10 years later, 5 years later, for such kind of so-called warm clothing, what should we do? Maybe less required. Maybe we need to make it a bit thinner, not so heavy. So that's the point we should look into. What are your customers? Who are your consumers? Also, take China element. In China, you'll find because of opening policy in the late 70s or early 80s. Excuse me. Sorry. After the opening policy, getting more and more wealthy people. If you can do 0.01% business of these wealthy people, I think you are very good. because 0.01% of Chinese population, that would be over 100,000. That 100,000, they are big spender. You will be in a good position. Also, in China, because of opening policy, that's another issue which has obstacle to government business. Because of one-child policy, do you ever have one-child policy? That means each family can only get one child. That means from 4 to 2, 2 to 1, getting less and less. Getting less and less could be good or it could be bad. The population will be getting less. However, for those kids wear, you may sell those kids wear with a very high markup because only get one child. The parents, they are willing to pay for it. They are willing to pay for it. If you get 10 child, just everyone get 10%. If I get one child, takes all. The winner takes all. So, for the kids business, kids wear business, you have we view this in two angles. Either angle, if you can do it, say, I sell those premium items, then you may be in good position. If you say popular item, then you should take care. Market, in years before or before this year, still really good. Not only the billionaire, but also the government officials. I think you know what it is. Corruption. In India, I can say this. If in China, I dare not to say it. Now, before the middle of the year, before the July, still okay. But now, even to take a good dinner, even in trouble. Now the market conditions for those very high-end merchandise in China, that may face a problem. That may face a problem in the business. Because for those government officials, they dare not to buy those branded merchandise. Because once I have a watch, it cost me not much, 100,000. Once take the photo and put in the internet, put in the web, I will be in trouble already. I will be in trouble. But fortunately, there's only 1,000. So, all this that we should know. Not only saying that, oh, the market is this, the market is that. We also need to be aware what is the policy. Now, in India, I have not much idea. But in China, in this very strange market, that's something we need to look into. Maybe in some journal, in some newspaper, the analysis say, oh, China's good market. But you should know what is a government policy. If not, you will put yourself in trouble. Material. Why I say material? Also, I recall when I first studied textile, my teacher told me cotton is good in absorption, in sweater and water. But now, you find the quick dry, moisture management, what kind of fiber they are? Any cotton? For the quick dry fabric, so-called quick dry fabric, or moisture management fabric, they are mainly fiber, not cotton. So it changed. I don't know whether the books have changed already or not. Now, cotton is no more favored in making sportswear in nowadays. So material change. Because of new development, we are using some other material. Okay, what it is. What is characteristics? What are the properties? Just like around 20 years before, I've been looking for nano treatment, nano finishing. Nowadays, it seems not very popular, this term. Now, what's the new finishing technique, not new finishing technology, will be in the market? Such as for little fabric, the single jersey, using single ply yarn. After washing, what will be the result? Skewing. The seam line, not here, move to here. But around 10 years before, it was a new type of yarn, spinning method, called neutral yarn. They can minimize the skewness and limit it to around 2 to 3% on skewing. Now, that means we can use the similar quality yarn, but with a better effect. Now, market, there's a lot of research on this new material development. So as an industrialist, whether we have a dialogue with the research institution to understand what it is. Although those research institutions, it does not like TC Square, what Mike said yesterday. They only can make the research with the paper, with the patent, that's it. They can't engineer it and commercialize it. So, as an industrialist, whether we have a dialogue with them, whether we can find a niche, find opportunity that we can make use of their know-how and then convert it into commercial merchandise, that we can take this advantage. I find, because I was from university, I find there's a lot of research. After research, put in there. We have papers. Okay, publish the paper, that's finished. But never commercialize it. So as the industrialist, try to find this, whether we from there, we find the niche, we find the blue ocean, then we are in the better position. Okay, another very strange, very funny maybe say, but some people say ridiculous. The cotton price in China. Have you ever heard? The imported cotton is less expensive than local cultivated cotton in China, because the government subsidized the cotton farmer. They made it higher in the price. But for the imported one, okay, even they pay the tax, even less expensive. But you may not be in a position to import those because you need to get approval from the government. But this way I can say ridiculous. In here I can say ridiculous. That make the textile manufacturer in a bad position. It upset them. How come I buy locally is more expensive than imported one? But I can't buy it because I can't get approval. But I don't think this can happen in India. India okay? India could be okay. I think it's a better position than China. Now for technology, I don't want to address so much because yesterday, Mike is already talked to us. It's a lot. There's a lot. But one very important point that if we are invest in the new technology, don't just say, oh, I have money, I pay for it. But you need to pay for human resources. You need to make them know how to make use of new technology. Otherwise, you are just buying a piece of expensive toy. Put it in your factory. So for technology, I just using this. For technology, just we talk a lot on the retailing, the merchandising. I don't want to duplicate a lot because yours is maybe even more advanced than mine. Now, human resources. Government business is a kind of people-intensive industry. Now, I always dare not to labor-intensive. No people want to be a labor. I use people-intensive. We need a lot of people. Okay. Professional people, technical people, frontline management, skillful operative. But for all these human resources, we need to have education and training. Now, for training, I take training first. For the basic training, I'm not to mention anymore because in this morning, the speaker with a very, very good presentation. But for enhancement training, that's necessary. Basic training, now to my experience, Hong Kong is no more basic training, just enhancement training. Do you ever think about, for garment washing, or what we now call garment finishing, what we can train? Because it's not much factory they can provide such training by themselves. Now in Hong Kong, one of training agents, they fought on this. They are not to wait for people ask for training. They just create their recipe. They wash them by themselves and tell people, oh, we have lot of training program on this washing. We have the recipe, we have this and that, methodology, and ask the people to come. Now for this, the people come after training, they can take what they made in the training, offer to their buyers. Offer to their buyer. Now, we can make this. We can make this. Rather than the customer come, oh, I want this. Now for this, if the dialogue among the training agent and the merchandising house offer this kind of training program, that they can make use of it to sell to the customer, that's good. It's benefit to everyone. Just not like, oh, the customer take it, then you wash several times, cannot satisfy a customer. It takes your time. But you offer them, I get this. Now you can choose it. Now, in here, you may think on this, okay, I can wash so many washing effect. You can choose it. Because the recipe is in your hand. You can develop it, you can duplicate it. No problem to you. Another thing, education. I think there are teachers in here. There are college teachers in here? No. You? I don't know how about in India, but in Hong Kong, we face one very difficult position. Whenever a college or university want to develop a new program or to revise the curriculum, they need to pass through the so-called validation or accreditation. Is that right in here? A new course, a new program you develop. You need to pass through a process called validation or accreditation. But we think for a college, we train, not train, to educate a student. For what? Not for this year, not for immediately. For the need 4 or 5 years later and onward. Because 4 years of college education, when you plan to be at least 1 or 2 years ahead, that means at least 5 or 6 years afterward. The teacher may think forward. Okay, after 5 years later, the market needs this. However, whenever going through the process of validation, the panel people say, okay, you project 5 years later, you need such person. Do you have other data? How come? It's a projection. It's a projection. Data which is a historical thing. It happened last year, happened yesterday. Okay, if I say this is my projection rate, then the panel people say, okay, we are using taxpayers' money. We should be safe. We should be safe. Okay? Go back, do it again. Now, I can say that for quite a lot of college, the so-called educationists, they are very conservative. They can't, they dare not to look forward. Although they have a forward thinking, still there are obstacles for them. I don't know how about in here. Is that right? Are you facing such trouble? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Not really. It's better. It's better. But I can say that in the English education system, we are facing such troubles, such problems. So, for education, we try to convince the people, say, we are looking forward 5 or 6 years later onward. Because we need to satisfy the market years afterward, not now. Because the training is for immediately. For education, year onward. Okay, environment, government policy, I already addressed a lot. How is the China government, the policy of China government? Okay, there's a lot of this trade barrier, harmful substance. I think everyone has ever heard about this. But one very important issue also in education. Because whenever they plan or they revise the program, the curriculum, that means such industry may move up or declining, going to decline. Because they have a forward thinking, they know for such kind of business or such kind of industry may decline in coming future. They need to shift to some other area. Now, by means of this, people can see, oh, they are going to change. Because the market changed, the educational system changed, the program offered to be changed. Let's see the NGOs. Just like this morning with all the compliance issue, environmental issue, etc., and etc. And economic. Just like in the year of 2007, the early 2007, did anyone foresee the financial crisis? No. Even the Queen said, why, how come your economists cannot foresee this? Now, for all this that we should bear in mind, whenever we are looking forward, okay, yes, you go ahead. But once you go ahead, then you should think on many, many issues. Okay, for this, the industry, the business is affected by all this. Now, the future. What's the role in current? What will be the changes? What will be the changes? Now, always the changes. That's like years before, Obama said change. Now, everything keeping change. But what will be the change? Are you in the correct direction? But you should think what sort of change there will be. I think you know, Lockheed, this one, have been acquired by which company? In 5 years before, whoa, Lockheed, in very higher end. But now, it's acquired by others, by Microsoft. So, you should think. Okay, whenever it changes, what sort of resources that you need? What resources that you need? But once that you consider resources, any new resources, don't just say, oh, okay, I'm going to change. But change, you need a lot of support. Without this support, what will be the result? The support, that must be the resources. No matter human being material, money, or whatsoever. Consider about the market, the consumers. Now, what I said, for the kids wear in China, could be in a good position for premium item. But could be 10 years later, may not be. Because as I heard, that the one-child policy may be abandoned. Then there's a free. How many child you have, leave it to you. Then the kids will only share, will be 1/3 of the resources. Then you should consider whether any premium item or more popular item. Okay, what will they buy, what may they buy, and what can they buy? Okay, all these factors we already addressed, but only the most important that how you integrate all these resources that can self-fulfill your future focus. Okay, just finished my presentation. It looks very simple, and in fact, I must admit I changed a lot of the content already. Okay, thank you.